Hey guys, we are back for Bandcamp Dailies number 9. We did one last night. We're doing one tonight. So we got a bunch of listens. Now we're only going to be doing one song because we've covered all of the other songs. So the song we are going to be covering is Mistaken Lobotomy. This is, once again, it's a single. And once again, I realized today that I forgot to publish the lyrics for this song as well. That occurred yesterday with, what was the song? Sleeping Orifice, I believe it was. I had forgot to publish the lyrics for that, and I had forgot to publish the lyrics for this, so I published them. They're officially published. Okay, so Mistaken Lobotomy, it's a single. So this was, like with Sleeping Orifice, it was for a songwriting challenge on the Black Vault forum. And so this one was for experimental avant-garde black metal. And that's sort of like, that's one of the styles of music I like to write anyway. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. So that's what I did. And just like with Sleeping Orifice, I used I think I did this one before that, to be honest. This was March 2021. So for this song, I recorded drums first. I didn't write any music yet. I just improvised. It's 11 minutes, 53 seconds. There's a sample at the beginning and a sample at the end, so it's not quite that long. But I improvised like almost 11 minutes worth of drums. And then I did it one full take, first try, and I wanted it to be sort of like a normal-ish type of song, but I also left spaces. So I would like play drums and then I would just stop. And I wouldn't do anything for, I don't know how long, but like 20 seconds, maybe 10 or 20 seconds. And for those parts, I was going to play keyboards. So I was leaving space for these strange arty keyboard parts, artsy fartsy keyboard parts. And so in this song, there are multiple parts like that. And so it's basically a black metal song, experimental black metal song. And then towards the end, there is a part where I just spaz out on drums, just like with the Octopus Core stuff. So that's pretty cool. I really like how this song turned out. I'm extremely happy with how this song turned out. It turned out perfectly. And so, but to continue on with how it was written, I improvised the drums. And then after, I wrote the guitars to fit along with the drums. I've done that several times. And like I mentioned yesterday, every single time I do it, it ends up working out really well. So, and this, I don't know, this might even be the best version of that idea. It's definitely the longest version. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. It also sounds really good. I was really happy with how like the sound production came out. Like how the drums sound. I like how the guitars sound and the vocals and the keyboards. So just all in all, a super duper home run. Now the cover art, I don't remember what this is. I think it was a drawing or something. It was like a doodle, but like these black parts right here, they didn't really exist. I feel like I really screwed around with the levels, and these just sort of became black. And so like these things right here, those are pen marks. They sort of look like pubic hair. That was unintentional. But like whenever I see this, I see pubic hair. I don't know why. And so I screwed around with the levels, and I don't even know if I have this anymore. I probably don't, because this was just some stupid, it wasn't even a drawing. It was just a bunch of marks on a piece of paper, on a discarded piece of paper. But I do like how it turned out. Especially with these, I think the black areas really make the cover art what it is. So, and I guess if you want to get sort of fancy about it, if you want to get pretentious about it, you can see, you can sort of make it out like this, the white part is an M for Mistaken Lobotomy. It could be like down and then down like this, like it's an M, sort of rotated slightly. I don't know if you're on enough drugs. Now, the title Mistaken Lobotomy is sort of a takeoff of Mistaken Identity. But I don't know, maybe someone accidentally got lobotomized. I don't really know. And as for the lyrics, I don't even, like, I read them today and I didn't remember any of them. It's basically like I have this lyrical style that I do often. It's like my go-to style where I just write random stuff that has nothing to do with anything. So that's basically what the style of lyrics in this song, and almost all of my other songs now. It's like it's just nonsense, but it's a style, I guess. So considering this is just a one song Bandcamp Daily, honestly, I think we're going to listen to the entire song, even though it's 11 minutes. I don't have a whole lot to say about it besides what I've already said, but I do have some things to say. So we're not going to listen to it in here. We're going to go into Reaper and we're going to listen to the meat of the song. But in my Reaper project, I don't have the samples at the beginning and the end. So we're going to listen to that in whatever this is, Bandcamp. Okay, so that was sample number 1. Now we're going to listen to the sample at the end. All right. So these samples, they are from, what are they from? They are from Twilight Zone, the original series. So when did that come out? I think that came out in the 50s, didn't it? Remember, it was in black and white. At least some of it was in black. I actually have the entire series on DVD behind me back there on a chair. I watched the entire series a few years ago. I bought it on Amazon. However, bit of trivia here. I originally did not want to have the Twilight Zone music on. I knew I did want like a sample at the beginning, but I wanted it to be this specific sample from Night Gallery, which is another similar type of, sci-fi show. But Night Gallery, I believe, came out, I don't know if it was the 70s or the 60s, but it also featured Rod Serling. I think that's his name, right? Very, very similar type of show. It feels like a 70s show, but I don't know. Maybe the Twilight Zone came out in the 60s and The Outer Limits came out in the 50s. I don't remember. But anyway, there's this one specific piece of music from Night Gallery. It was in this episode. I had such a bitch of a time figuring out what the episode was. I remember seeing this episode late night one night. I was here because it used to come on one of these channels that I get. And it was after midnight. And this music was just so screwed up. And like that TV show is also pretty screwed up as well. Night Gallery. It was about this woman who was seeing this like horse, this white horse, but it was a ghost horse. It was just, oh my God. I was watching this show and it reminded me of being like a teenager in high school when I would watch TV like late at night. It really brought me back. So I wanted that music. And so I went on like a hunt trying to find this music. Could not find the music until I finally did find the music. but it wasn't, I couldn't find the music itself. It was like embedded into the actual episode. And so there was a lot of dialogue and whatnot. And so then I decided, okay, let's just try and do some of the Twilight Zone music. And so that's what I did. And so actually I realized before I started the video that I actually have these MP3s still. So I got these off of YouTube back in 2021, apparently. So the first one, so these are like, what is this called? When the Sky Was Opened. That's one of the songs. And the other one is The Lonely. So the first sample, so these are like long songs. This one's 11 minutes. This one is, I don't know how long it is, but so it's really cool. It's really cool sort of, what is this called? Soundtrack music. It's not called that, but I believe the part that I used was in just after 2 minutes. I think 2:10. Yeah, that's so awesome. I could just listen to that on loop forever. So cool. And then the part that I used in When the Sky Was Opened. Now, by the way, I don't know who wrote this, by the way, who composed this. I should have figured that out before making the video. I might even get a copyright notice. I don't know. Or even a copyright strike. Could you imagine? Good stuff. Really good stuff. So eerie. Okay. So let's listen to it in Reaper here. Okay, so these first bunch of tracks here, this is my drum track. This is my uninterrupted. I didn't start at 0, did I? Oh, apparently I did. So I started at 0, and then when did I end? 10:54, yeah. So I pretty much stopped around 10:44. So, it's a decently long drum track. And so what I did, like I said, I recorded the drums in one full take. And then once that was done, I started writing and recording the guitars at the same time. So I picked out little pieces. I didn't record like a super long guitar track. I tried to keep it short enough. And the drums weren't, unlike with Seeping Orifice from yesterday, Seeping Orifice was very complicated, very fast. And so I actually had to write it out into Notepad, what all the beats did and all the timings of the beats and stuff so that I could write my riffs. But with this, the drums were a little more simple and a little more straightforward. So I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to write it into Notepad. I could just like pick out, I don't know how, like a 10-second piece or 20-second piece of the song. And I could like memorize that piece and record the guitars for that, write and record the guitars for that. Then I'll go to the next piece. But yeah, it didn't involve any deciphering of the drum track, which was nice, though we'll sort of get into that later. But so I'm just going to let it play. So you can see I have sort of like 2 left guitars, 2 right guitars, but there's only one of each. I had 2 tracks going because I did like this section and then I did this section right here, and I didn't want them to overlap, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then you can see there's like the drums go silent right here. There are several instances where the drums just stop. As I mentioned, this was dedicated for the keyboards, for the atmospheric arty keyboards. So there's one here, 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 and there was one there, and one here, and one here, and then that's it. Okay, so I'm just going to let this play. I might stop it. Well, I will stop it, and I might have a couple things to say, but we're basically just going to listen to the entire song. By the way, for some of these keyboard parts, they appear in some of my, in some of my Elise Eklund videos. I use these keyboard parts. I'm trying to think what one I feel like this appears in one of the videos. But I can't, I don't know which one. I also wanted to say something else, but I forgot. Oh, yeah, so when I was writing and recording the guitars, I wrote and recorded at the same time, and then I would go to the next part. And then so when I finished writing and recording the first part, that was it. I didn't go back to it again. And I didn't like make any tabs, obviously, because I was not playing along to like, there was no metronome, there was no time signature. I just freestyled on the drums, and then I wrote the guitars along to the drums. So I didn't like keep track of how to play the riffs, and it's also really tricky, because sometimes I can go back and sort of listen to what I'm playing, and I can figure out what I did. But it's harder when you're playing chords, like non-traditional chords, with a lot of distortion, which is what's happening in here. It's hard to figure out what you're doing. And so, if I don't remember how to play it, obviously, because this is a couple years ago. And if I were to try and figure out what I'm doing, I probably won't be able to do it perfectly. So that's kind of unfortunate. Now, I learned my lesson for Seeping Orifice because for that song that we talked about yesterday, I didn't tab out the guitar parts, but I did make short videos of me playing each part so that I could see what I'm doing on the fretboard. So that was very, very helpful. I wish I would have done it for this song, but I didn't think of it at the time, and yeah, so. So I would have to memorize that sequence of of stings, which isn't a big deal. I mean, because this is only like 20 seconds or something like that. But, you know, there was a little bit of memorization that I had to do for this song. And the drums they don't keep a steady beat a lot of the time, which is also requires some memorization. This keyboard part, this is in a couple of my videos. Which one? I feel like it's in the floating head video, but I also feel like it's in the balloon and the guitar video as well. Might even be in another one, I'm not sure. But this one definitely makes an appearance. And then this part too. This is like a continuation. Yeah, I use a lot of strange chords in this song. You know, often with black metal, they use strange chords, and I like using strange chords a lot too. And so that's what I did for this song. And I'm really happy with with how strange the chords turned out to be. That was not a good sentence. I don't know what I was trying to say, but I was really happy with the with the usefulness of the chords that I found. Once again, that's not a good sentence. Yeah, so for the keyboard parts, I used my keyboard, and I believe, I don't know, I added distortion to it, but I'm just curious, did I add the distortion in Reaper, or did I? No, I didn't. Okay, so I'm just trying to think what I did. I probably hooked it up to, I don't know, maybe oh, you know what I think I did? Okay. I think I added the distortion on the keyboard itself, because you can add various effects and whatnot. I believe that's what I did. Okay, mystery solved. So yeah, like I said earlier, I keep stopping the song, but like I said earlier, how I didn't know, I didn't keep track of how to play the riffs. You know, the reason I was sort of disappointed with that is because I could play this song all the way through on guitars. It's not that difficult, even though it's a long song. There are a lot of sections, but it's pretty straightforward in general. I mean, there is a bunch of memorization that has to go into the song, but I've done that before, and I wish I would have known how to play the song, because I would have liked to play all the way through, and maybe I could have made a video just like I did with Seeping Orifice, where I played through the entire song. I think we already listened to this part. Sorry about that. This part, I know for a fact, this part right here, I used in my, what the hell is it called? The balloon and the guitar video. And it's the section where I'm in my recliner, the lights are out, and I'm napping. And I was trying to figure out what music to use for that part. And then I came across this, and this part of the song, it sounds sort of dreamy, but it doesn't sound scary or anything like that. By the way, for this part right here, it's kind of funny. In the lyrics, I think it's, where is it? It's this part right here. It just says choking. I'm pretty sure that's for that. I guess this 27 right here, that's for the marker. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, 27. That's funny. So basically just making choking sounds. I'm really happy with my vocals. Usually my vocals suck shit, but I mean, there are effects added to the vocals. There's definitely distortion. I know that much. Let's just see what kind of effects are on the vocals. Distortion, and then there's a gate, okay, and then there's compressor, and then there's an EQ, okay. And then, yeah, distortion. What is this distortion values? I'm curious. Okay. But yeah, I'm really happy with how they turned out on this song. Oh, okay. Now, I was wondering why these markers are here. I mean, they sort of happen at the beginning of like the next part or the next section or whatever, but they're only there for the lyrics. I get it. That's so I knew where each line was positioned. So when I come across, marker 28, I knew, okay, I have to say this. Oh, It took me way too long to figure that out. Okay, this part right here, marker 33, I remember recording the guitars for this because I was in the back room there where my drums are. I was recording the guitars on there. And what I'm trying to say, it was like the afternoon. It's a really nice day out. When did I record this? In March or something like that? Yeah, I think so. 4 years ago? But I remember recording it, sun coming through the windows, and I had just written this riff. That's this riff. I know how to play this riff. For some reason I remember it's a sort of a weird riff. I mean, a lot of them are weird, but like there's a word for it, but I can't think of the word. But when I hear this riff, it makes me remember recording them back in the back room there during the nice day. Yeah, I mean, that riff, it has the riff that I was talking about. It has a nice mix of, like, there's sort of a melody in there, but then it also has some really strong dissonance because there are, I think, several parts that have like there are two notes which are basically one fret apart, and they're both ringing at the same time. One is an octave higher. And so, yeah, I like doing that a lot. And yeah. Okay, this part, this keyboard part I've used in many videos. Basically when, trying to think which ones, definitely the floating head video, I feel like, maybe not. The nerdy girl video, there's definitely more. I probably use this one the most, but whenever you hear this keyboard part. It's during like there's a black screen and it says like earlier that week or later that night or something like that. And then it has these 3 piano notes. And in the video version, when I add it to videos, I think I also speed it up slightly. Yeah. The lowest piano note there, I used that in another video, but I don't remember what video it is, but it's the one where it's at the end of one of the videos. I think actually it sort of comes back in the imposter video. Yeah, it's sort of it makes a reappearance. There's a word for that. What the hell is that? Callback. There's a callback to that part in the imposter video, and it's me looking at the camera and giving a funny face, and then there's the low piano note, and this is where it originates from. So I basically stripped out almost all of the keyboard parts in this song to use in my videos. Okay, so this is the octopus core part. This is basically me just doing total random ass shit on drums, trying to be really fast. And so this proved to be a challenge, not in the drums department. On drums, this was a totally fine song, because there were breaks. I got to take breaks, and there were a lot of just standard drumming beats. And so the drums were fine, but when I was tasked with adding guitars to this part of the song, because this is just absolute nonsense, the drumming. And so when I was coming up with, because I came up with some good melodies for this part of the song, but there was no structure to the drums, so I didn't know how fast to play the riffs, and I also I couldn't, there's nowhere to keep time, and there was nowhere to figure out like how many times do I play it, how fast should I be playing? And then I needed to sort of end at the same time as the drums. And so I was having a really hard time figuring out how to do this. And then I came up with the idea, okay, maybe I'll just add some markers. I think that's what I did at first. I added some markers to sort of separate this random ass drum solo bullshit into some semblance of an actual song, so that I could put because the guitars that I came up with, they're very simple, and there's actually a structure to the guitars. So if you listen to the guitars, it actually sounds like a song. But if you listen, and then there's just crazy random drumming underneath. And so I added the markers to try and separate this chunk of music into an actual song, to give it some structure. But then I still had the problem with how fast do I play, because I remember I was trying to record the guitars, and I was getting close to the next marker, and so I would have had to like speed up if I was playing too fast or too slow, or I would have had to slow down if I was playing too fast, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so then I decided, okay, I need a little more here, because I can't use the drums to keep track of what I'm doing, because it doesn't give me any sort of timing at all, because it's just complete random bullshit. And so what I did is I added metronome clicks, and so I had to make it some. Yeah, so the riffs are in a specific time signature, and then I had to like change the tempo depending on, and I basically had to screw around with the tempos in order to fit everything so that it all fit perfectly with how many times I played each riff. And it took a lot of trial and error to try and do this, because if I got like the first bunch of sections timed out perfectly, But then, you get towards the end and it's out of time again. So it took a lot of trial and error. That's why these tempos are so strange. You got 122, you have 139, 139, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it ended up working great. So I'm just going to, what should I do? I'm going to, okay, I'll play this through just so you can hear what I'm talking about. I remember when I released this song on the forum there, when I finished it, one of the guys thought that this was like a drum machine because of how ridiculous it is. And I guess I can see why he would think that. But if you think about it, how long would it take to program drums like this? If you try to, because it doesn't go along to a click. If you program drums, it's always to a click and it's always perfect. Well, I guess not always, but if you sort of screw around with it. But I feel like if you were to program drums like this, it would take so long. It would take so ridiculously long. Whereas if I wanted to just play it, I'd just sit down and just play it in a single take, just do random ass shit. And then it fades out. But yeah, I'll show you. So basically when I recorded the guitars along to this part, I muted the drums and I enabled the metronome. So here's how it sounds with the metronome. It's kind of hard to follow along with the drums making that racket. So let me mute the drums. It sort of sounds like for the keyboards, because the keyboards are sort of a little more loose. I'm wondering if I recorded the keyboards by turning the metronome off and listening to both the guitars and the drums. I just tried to sort of use the guitars as a guide. I'm not sure, but that sounds like what happened. Anyway, so that is Mistaken Lobotomy. I think that's going to be it for the video. This was probably a really long video, 46 minutes for one song. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. I don't know when that's going to be, but I'll see you next time.